Podcast. Where the unknown becomes an adventure. Uncover the complexities of answers that aren't always clear-cut. Let's dive into the depths of the unexpected. The realm where diverse perspectives and conflicting ideas are welcomed. Let's talk about it. 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 Let's talk about it.
That's my bad. My mic was on mute. Y'all welcome. That's what I'm on. You distracted. This phone is a distraction. So, welcome to the Gray Area Podcast, where we talk about situations and things that are rarely talked about for whatever reason. You all know I doing these unannounced pop-up now. Unannounced. So, y'all know what to do. While you here in the live feed, just, like the post, share the post, invite a friend, tell a friend, and let's talk about it, man. Y'all ain't even giving me chance, man. Y'all just texting. Y'all got jokes tonight, man. Y'all got jokes. So yeah. Mm. All right. So tonight's topic for us is ta-da-da, embracing the unchangeable, recognizing people for who they are. What we talking about tonight? What we talking about tonight? So y'all know, y'all can share your input in the comments, or you can send a WhatsApp. Let me put my WhatsApp, and y'all please understand that this WhatsApp ain't for no personal messaging and y'all begging for free things. I give away free things, but this ain't no free things type of thing. Messaging my number. So y'all, if y'all feel like WhatsApp and y'all don't want y'all name and stuff to show up on Facebook, just WhatsApp your opinions and I'll read it. Some people shy, some people bold, and some people are open. So we could just, it's called balance. One girl every day. All right, so let me show you how the concept. Sometimes, it's like this. Let's pop in shade on. Whatever comment you put, I post it up on the screen. Some people don't like their names to be on the screen, so they prefer the text. So you can message us. I'm saying you can message us and we'll keep your name hidden at 432-8026. So y'all, that's our topic tonight, man. That's our topic tonight. So y'all know, right? Y'all know in society, whether it's relationships, family, whether it's friendship, sometimes people have qualities that we really try to change. I mean, we really put effort into them to change, especially those bad qualities. And sometimes us trying to change these unchangeable qualities in these individuals can backfire on us. So you have to recognize people for who they are. So what does it mean to recognize people for who they are? It means if they show you that they are this type of person, then stop trying to make them some other type of person. If they tell you that they are Cell or Freezer from Dragon Ball Z, stop trying to think that they are Bulma. You all understand what I'm saying? So yeah, sometimes we go above and beyond to try to change people. And we go above and beyond to try to show people, okay, man, this ain't making no sense. And then sometimes you end up getting the short end of the stick and you end up getting hurt. So you have to be careful in regards to that. Sometimes you just got to embrace the unchangeable, man. You reach a point, okay, well, they ain't changing. They ain't interested. Well, it's whatever. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with accepting the fact of, what it is. Sometimes you just gotta accept people for who they are. You know what I mean? Oh Lord, these messages coming. Hey, why y'all? Why people don't like posting their comments no more? I mean, that used to be so fun. Everybody will be here. Come on, man. But I see y'all, man. I see y'all. So it's very important, right? And before I get into it again, y'all just, as when y'all join the live feed, just hit share. It helps the page to grow because we are fairly new podcast. We're building from the ground up. Trying to get out there. But y'all, my WhatsApp already ticking off. Mm, 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 mm. So y'all, listen. A lot of times we find ourselves in some situations and some things where we don't want to embrace the unchangeable. It's like we have a habit of trying to force fit something, you know, force fit everything. Molly, say top of the night to the host of the gray area and to all your guests. This is an excellent topic. I have a saying, a leopard can't never change its spot. All right, Biggie, you're coming hot. Biggie, you're coming hot. Mm. That's just what some people believe. Some people believe that some people can't change, you know. So my first WhatsApp message is tonight. Y'all gotta stop. This person says, do you believe that you can make a HO into a housewife? Listen, everybody has a past, right? If they come to you in a new state, in a new mindset, you know what I mean? And why not? And people fall in love with people all the time and they had a past. Some of these people pass or just some serious past. I mean, sometimes these people been around the blocks, where they made some mistakes in their past. Does that mean that they don't deserve to find love? They don't deserve to find happiness? They don't deserve to be married? I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I mean, it all depends. Like I said, look at it from the other perspective. We always are body shaming women and we always talking about their body count, right? Check out men. The average body count for men starts at 10. Some men up in the 20s, 30s, some men up in the 40s. I know one of my brethren, he's probably over 200 by now, right? But he's into a serious relationship. I don't think she's gonna hold that against him. Oh, how much people you sleep with, man? I ain't gonna lie, it's over 100 something. So does he not deserve to be in love now? I mean, I'm just saying. So if the same goes for the men, why can't it go for the females? Why are we always, going against the grain and say, oh no, she been this and she been that. Oh no, I can't mess with that man. She bad man. But you was the dude, you been bad too. I mean, shoots. If I shoot a bullet and you shoot a bullet, we both shoot bullets. Why is it the fact that we streamline it only on men? I mean, that's a conversation for another year, but that's just my take on that. Shay does say force fit. Anyway, let me finish paying attention to the teacher. My mind wanders at times. Lord, we done starting hot. Oh, we starting hot. Mm, 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 mm. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Boy, I mean, you're all coming in hot, man. So, yeah, a lot of people struggle. And when I say struggle, I mean they struggle. They struggle with people who don't want to be, don't want to be, the way they want them to be. Sometimes it's okay to understand that man, this person ain't changing. It's okay to understand, like, hey, this person ain't gonna do what I want them to do. It's okay. It's okay. All right. So they ain't interested in being who you want them to be. They ain't interested in changing their ways. They ain't interested in changing their attitude. They ain't interested in changing the way they do things. Sometimes, man, you just gotta make up your mind and say, look here, all right then. You wanna be you? Okay, all right, fine. You can continue to be you, but then I'm gonna continue to be me over here. It's okay, man. They don't want to change, all right. Accept it, embrace it, recognize it, and then you just move on. You can't force, like I say, you can't force fit something. You can't force it. So yeah. couple of these messages was explicit. You all know I don't cuss, and you all be sending me cursing messages. I don't read cuss, you know. All right, so let me start with this one. So this one says, oh yeah, like I said, for those of you that want to WhatsApp, y'all can WhatsApp me discreetly 432-8026, 432-80226, and I'll read your message. So this one says, I'm ready to tell my story. Jason, listen to me. I gotta read this in your own voice. I'm ready to tell my story. Jason, listen to me. I remember I met this guy. He was so persistent chasing me, and I finally gave in. The minute I gave in, I realized the man was lying. Phone always loaded with messages from other women. He lied saying he wasn't entertaining other women. I left him and he came back crying. I mean, snorty. Mother flip. They're snorty crying. Like, snort coming from me. I left him and he came back crying. And he came crying back. I mean, snorty. I felt so sorry and took him back. You're going wrong there. You see? Come on. Anyway, let me finish reading. I felt so sorry and took him back. Would you believe that man did the same thing again? Really? He did? That's when I learned once someone is a dog, they will always be a dog. Watch out for these. Hey, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Shout out to the song. I gotta read this again. I ready to tell my story. Jason, listen to me. I remember I met this guy. He was so persistent chasing me, and I finally gave in. The minute I gave in, I realized that man was lying. Phone always loaded with messages from other women. He lied saying he wasn't entertaining any other woman. I left him and he came back. He came crying back. I mean, snorting. I felt so sorry and took him back. Would you believe that man did the same thing again? I believe it. That's when I learned once someone is a dog, they will always be a dog. Watch out for these things. All right. I ain't got no psychology major, right? But when somebody shows you a persistent characteristic, that's a part of them. And when I mean a part of them, that's just who they are. You know what I mean? If somebody, a lot of times in these relationships, right? Especially, for example, let me give you an example. A lot of women are in these abusive relationships, right? And some men too, some men are abused too. And the thing what's really so baffling, right, is sometimes they get the courage to leave, right? Especially women. They get the courage to leave, and that individual will come back in their lives saying, oh baby, I sorry. I sorry, I changed my ways. I'm not doing this no more. Oh baby, I apologize and so forth. Oh baby, man, they just read, they read everything and I mean, they have the best speech. And then a month in, they get abused again. So I say that to say, once you see somebody's behavior is like a pattern, that's an unchangeable behavior. So you have to recognize people for who they are. When you see these patterns, like these repetitive behaviors, these repetitive cycles, and these same things over and over and over and over. And you just continue to accept it and you continue to take it back. No, man, it's okay to recognize who they are. You recognize, okay, well, he's a liar. Well, I don't want him to lie to me anymore. You could be you could be amicable and just leave. You know what I mean? It don't have to be no big rah rah back and forth. Oh, you old dirty dog, you this and that, you do this to me. No, because he already shows you who he was prior. Because you said, he lied saying he wasn't entertaining other women, right? And you say his phone was loaded with messages. You already saw these signs, so it shouldn't come as a shocker the second time around. You know what I mean? The second time around. It shouldn't come as a shocker. So you have to be real. You have to be real, man. It shouldn't come as a shocker when they do these things. All right, let's get to the Facebook comment. Some people think they are going to be young forever. They don't realize that time is flying by and they don't want to grow up. That's facts. Some people, they continue to do the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Like we had this dude, all of us came from school together, you know? I mean, this dude still out hanging with these little dudes, gang bang with these little dudes. I mean, the dude almost 40. Still being around these little dudes, gang banging these little dudes. Everybody say, thank you, Shelly. You know, like sometimes, man, it's like you can't change your behavior. You stuck in those ways. Come on, man. Come on. Right. You know, so you have to understand that listen, you gotta be real with yourself, you know. You gotta be real. Once you see these patterns and you see these behavior, and just accept it. Sometimes we have too big of a heart, you know. Like we be like, oh, I see the best in him. Well, you can see the best in him, right? If the best in him is 1 out of 10, you will settle for that. If the best in him is 2 out of 10, you will settle for that. If it's supposed to be a 10 out of 10, nah. If you see the best in him and it's 8 out of 10, and you could move around the two, like you know, come on, man. You gotta be real in this time, man. So this one says, I believe that everyone can change. I like where this is going. Because this is another side. I thought all y'all was gonna be on the negative side. This seems like a positive side. All right, so this is a positive side. I believe that everyone can change. It just takes the right person for them to want to change. Hold on, man. That means all my life I ain't been the right person. All right, let's hit this up again. They said, I believe that everyone can change. It just takes the right person for them to want to change. What left? That one hit me deep right now. That means I ain't the right person. They ain't changing for me, daddy, yo. Right? It just takes the right person for them to want to change. I can honestly say I was never into a relationship because where it's going? Where it's going? I was so involved in here, but just take a different turn. I can honestly say I was never into a relationship because I was just tired and I was just doing me. Okay. I wasn't bad because I know your followers Tropsy. Now hold on now. Don't come for my followers now. Don't come for them now. My followers ain't Tropsy. Don't come. Why you want to put them there? Don't come for them. Hold on, I got lost now. You threw me off with that. You threw me. She said, I just was tired and I was just doing me. What is doing you? I just want to know what is doing you. But anyway, I wasn't bad because I know your followers Tropsy. I just wasn't into anything serious. That's fair. This man was so consistent and he pursued me nonstop until I got tired of him. That's how persistent he was. And I gave him a chance. That man changed me. He made me walk into my soft girl era. Watch it now. We married today, and I honestly don't regret it. He would be in his phone, and I would be like, you talking to your woman there? And he would be like, if you want to see the phone, just ask. I changed for him, so it's possible. What you changed from? That's what I want to know. First, you say it wasn't bad, because you think that's what my followers is trashy. But I want to understand what you changed from, or what he changed you from. He changed you from that you was just not interested in nothing. I mean, I let me read this again because I don't want to misinterpret what you saying. I believe that everyone can change. It just takes the right person for them to want to change. That's facts. I can honestly say I was never into a relationship because I was just tired and I was just doing me. I wasn't bad because I know your followers Tropsy. I just wasn't into anything serious. So you were dating, is what you said, right? This man was so consistent and he pursued me nonstop until I got tired of him. That's how persistent he was, and I gave him a chance. That man changed me. He made me walk into my soft girl era. We married today, and I honestly don't regret it. He would be in his phone, and I would be like, oh Lord, these phones. Hold on, oh, sorry. he would be like, sorry, these messages just coming in. He made me walk into my soft mind today, and I honestly, he would be in his phone, and I would be like, "You talking to your woman?" Then, and he would be like, "You want to see the phone? Just ask." I changed for him, so it's possible. I mean, I can't knock you on that, you know. You say he changed you and put you in your soft girl area, so you was in your rough girl area. You was in your rough girl area. I want to know what the opposite of this soft girl ever was. You say it wasn't bad, which and I don't believe in calling people bad, but what were you doing? What did he change you to? But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. You know, some people change for who they want to change for, you know, and some of us just ain't lucky. Ah, let these people change on their own. Facts. Man, sometimes you let them change, but sometimes, you know, some people they just need a little push in the right direction, you know. Yeah, you want them to change and so forth, and you want them to change on their own because they have to understand that the change is necessary for their growth. So the change is necessary for their mindset and mind frame to be different. So sometimes certain people, you know, they stuck and you just need to, you know, like get them a tug in the right direction. But sometimes it is get exhausting when you push it and you giving them a little push in the right direction and they still falling back on you and then they still doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? So I respect that. I respect that comment and the last WhatsApp thing. All right. This one says, man, all y'all in these unchangeable relationships, man, when I start reading these things and these messages, man, I need some water now. Mm-mm. A lot of people is going to these relationships and try to change these people, you know. And what I always say is when you see them red flags, and I'm not talking about one, I talk about one, two, three, four, five, they just busting you in your face. Do, 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 right? Red flags all over. And you consistently ignore the red flags, hoping that the person will change or hoping that they will change for you, you in trouble. You in trouble bad. You in trouble bad. All right, so this next one says, good night. Why people always have to change because of someone? I changed for her or him. So you telling me uh, as big an adult as you are, you didn't see that you should change for yourself? Let me read it again. Good night. Why people always have to change because of someone? I changed for her or him. So you telling me as big of an adult as you are, you didn't see that you should change for yourself? That's facts. I agree. You know, some people, a lot of people are in this mental space where I guess they comfortable in what they've been doing. And some people just, it's like a natural habitat is what I want to call it. So they naturally know that this is what they do. They naturally steal, they naturally lie, they naturally they just so accustomed. I'm not saying that I justify it, but they so accustomed to this behavior. It's almost like their characteristic trait. It becomes a part of them. It's like it's who they are. Like you take that away from them, they'll be a totally different person. It's like they transform into these traits and these characteristics. So sometimes I mean, sometimes even as an adult, sometimes we need someone to tell us, man, look here, what you doing ain't making no sense. You know, sometimes it's neat. Like sometimes my friends around me, they just be like, Jason, that ain't make no sense. Even if I ignore them, the mere fact that they still told me, you know, yeah, I'm an adult, but that doesn't mean I will choose the right things all the time. Some people will say, hey, I don't think this decision is the right decision for you. You know, and I said my ways. I'm gonna be like, buddy, this is the decision I want to make. If I gotta drop in a whole sink and figure out how to get out this hole later, well, that's just me. You know, exactly. If they ain't changing for themselves, it won't be real. Yeah, I agree. But sometimes people change for others, and it's genuine too. You know, I don't want you to sleep. Some people have the power and the ability to how do I say invest in people when you pour yourself into somebody, right? Sometimes you pour yourself into people and you can see some people change, but sometimes you pouring yourself into these people, sometimes they ain't changing. They second savage out there. So that's when you have to know, well, all right, sometimes you got to pay attention to the sign. It's all based on individuals. Some people, the way you flex with them, the way you move with them, they will change for you. They will ride you. Even behind your back, they still will be the same person that they are in your presence because why? They saying, all right, then this person was this and that to me. So wherever I am, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, y'all playing on God. There's many messages now. Many messages. Like trying to keep up. How come y'all in on thing? These thing I'm here. All of these messages I get, yo. Oh yeah, I just remember the YouTube numbers don't show. So the YouTube is be on YouTube and the Facebook thing is be on this Googly Eye thing. All right, that makes sense. All right. Hold on, you. Oh, she. All right. All right. Some of these things I had to proofread. I really had to proofread because some of y'all right about they're stuck in their ways. Yes, bro. Bro, some people stuck in their ways bad. I mean bad. All right. So this person said, I used to think I used to think that I could change my partner to fit my vision of a perfect relationship. That P word and relationship, I don't see them going on and on. But anyway, I used to think that I could change my partner to fit my version of a perfect relationship. I focused on his flaws, which only made our relationship struggle. Sometimes you have to know how to appreciate someone for who they are. When I did that, I had the perfect relationship. Oh, that's a different perspective. I gotta read this one again. This is a different perspective. I used to think I could change my partner to fit my version of a perfect relationship. So he was trying to change him to be the man that you want him to be and to give you the relationship that you wanted. Then she said, I focused on his flaws, which only made our relationship struggle. Sometimes you have to know how to appreciate someone for who they are. When I did that, I had the perfect relationship. All right, kudos to you. Now, I like to play devil's advocate. I mean, what are the flaws, too? Some flaws, I ain't accepting. No, sir. You can imagine now, you saying, oh, I can accept this flaw that this person is a cheater. All right, you're right. I just comfortable. I could just be the side person, or they could have the side person. Matter of fact, come in my bed. Make me a trios. Huh? I accepting you. No, I ended up flaws. You promiscuous? Well, all right, baby. I can't give you the promiscuity you want. I don't think it's working out fine. So I mean, you know, if that's who you are, that's who you are. That's fine, but hey, maybe, catch you in another round, just that's it for me. You gotta be real. You gotta be real sometimes. Like I said, I like to play devil's advocate. Sometimes it all depends on what the flaws are, because I'm not ready to sit down and accept anything somebody give me. No, never. No. I can embrace the fact, the things that you ain't changing. I'm gonna recognize who you are as an individual and what you show me, and I'm gonna act accordingly. But I know certain flaws you can work with. They got to be minor flaws, but not no major flaws. You can't be out here spending all your money carelessly. You have a gambling problem, and yet you have a family. Say, girl, you and your gambling problem, better try call Sabas, because I ain't Island. No, you can't organize your money. You can't do this. You can't. I must. I must accept your flaws. No, sir. Then when I give you my money, you gambling on my money too. Well, what a time. No, sir. No, sir. All right. This one says, when my husband was having problems, I put him out because he wanted to do whatever. Oh, Lord, this the matters of the heart tonight. When my husband was having problems, I put him out because he wanted to do whatever he wants. And every day he would call me and tell me he wants change for me. I tell him, no, thank you. And this gone on for months until one day he called me and said that he wanted to get some help for himself to heal himself so he could be a better husband and a better father. Then we started counseling and he started doing some private counseling by himself. And after a couple of months of him putting the work on himself, I gave him an I I got him an apartment and he stayed there for a while. I helped him when he needed. I was there to talk with him when he needed. Because I feel like fixing for me ain't no real fix, but fixing for yourself, I will get a better result out of that. And I did. Yeah, you right. Bah. I had to read, like really read this. So yeah, and I can respect that. Some people that say, oh, I want change for you, baby. Sometimes you got to stand your ground and be like, no, you don't change for me. Change because that's something that you want to do. You see? Change this, that's something you want to do. And you see what she said? He took the time up and say, hey, I want to change to be a better person. And he wanted to be a better person himself. He put in the work on himself. And then they started, getting together and doing whatever they got to do as husband and wife and so forth. So that's what you got to do. Yeah, pastor or mentor, don't risk. Yeah, a pastor or mentor, don't risk a dating relationship. Oh shoot. All right, all right, all right. Okay, I'm trying to keep up with these things now. All this stuff, a good message. I send all these messages I see from y'all. But this number thing, but anyway, like I said, I can't see the YouTube number. All right. All right. I like this one. I had a best friend and I would show up for them all the time. My goodness. I see where that's going. I had a best friend and I would show up for them all the time. When I saw that best friend thing, I said, I like this one. Party, I'm there. Need money, I'm there. Mine, I was there as best as I can. What hurt me was when I called her for a ride and she said she didn't feel like driving. That hurt me. I told her about it, and would you believe she said it ain't that serious? From that day, I stopped calling her my best friend. Some people don't know how to reciprocate. Listen, even in friendships, right? And I learned that the hard way. I learned that the hard way in friendships, relationships, and family. I had to learn that the hard way. You could go out your way for people, right? They could call you at 1 a.m. in the morning. You there. You could ride for these people. You could die for these people. You could show these people, listen, I down for you. I riding for you. I don't care what you do, this and that. I here for you. I will always be in your corner. And they will still turn around and hurt you and do things to you. Friendships, relationships, whatever ship you on, they sink the ship. They put holes to the bottom of that. And especially like how you said, you show up for her, you know, party you there. She need money you there. Man, you was there as best as you can. And you call her for a ride and she said she didn't feel like driving. What a flip. That's why I say you have to recognize people for who they are. The mere fact that she told you that, hey, man, I don't feel like driving, right? Especially if you're in a need. Sometimes, yeah, a lot of us is be tired and we don't feel like this. But certain people, especially once they go beyond the call of duty for us, man, you gotta return that energy, man. You can't be distant. Especially if I was there for you. You call me, you got a flat tire. I pull up and change your tire. And I call you and say, hey, I need a ride home. Oh, I would move right now because I'm watching a TV show or something like that. Sad, man. You know, she said I had a best friend and I was showing up for them party. I'm there. Need money? I'm there. Man, I was there as best as I can. What hurt me was when I called her for a ride and she said she didn't feel like driving. That hurt me. I told her about it. Would you believe? She said it ain't that serious. Yes, and they like to pick and choose what they consider serious. Like, no, that's how I feel. You know, from that day, I stopped calling her my best friend. I would stop calling her my best friend too. I call my best friend for a ride. Shoot, I had to walk home anyway. I wasn't calling nobody, but that's just me. Some people don't know how to reciprocate. I agree. How's she your best friend if you riding for and you doing and this, that, and doing this and that for her? And she ain't, you know, she ain't even giving you the same level of energy. Oh my God. I support you. I support you. And and sometimes you gotta know the signs, you gotta really know the signs, and you have to understand that mother said, this person ain't riding for me, Sometimes it take too long for us to understand mother said. I already tell this person, I don't like when they do this. I already tell this person, I don't like when they do that. I already show this person this and that, you know? And then we still have the benefit of the doubt in our minds that, okay, something gonna be different. No, these people continue to show you, hey, well, you ain't my best friend. You just someone who called me a best friend. That's how they ride. For me, recognizing like, oh man, this one, okay, this one little touchy. This one says, I see why some of y'all don't like to be on Facebook, because some of these things be touchy. But especially when you're talking about certain individuals, you don't want them to be calling you and, something like that. But sometimes you got to let these people know how they make you feel too. You don't just take these things, you let them know. All right, this one says, for me, recognizing my parents for who they are has been a journey and my story, boy. Growing up, I wish they would have been more supportive of me. Oh, Lord. I don't have this number saved, so, thanks for your message, whoever you are. Say, for me, recognizing my parents for who they are has been a journey and my story, boy. Growing up, I wish they would have been more supportive of me. They were always negative and never wished me well. When I had baby out of wedlock, they said I threw my life away and didn't help me through my pregnancy. What a flip, y'all parents. After years of conflict, I started to understand by accepting them as they are, has not only helped me to find peace, but also helped me not to rely on others for support. Sometimes you have to just admit what people are showing you. What a flip. You preach into the church. You preach into the church. I tell you, even family, sometimes you have to understand, man, listen here. All right. So they're going to continue doing this, right? They know I don't like this, right? They still talking down to me, right? They still belittling me, right? Okay then. So just you accept it and just move accordingly. Even in family, they gotta read this again, man. Y'all listen, man. These people testify now. Listen. For me, recognizing my parents for who they are has been a journey and my story, boy. Growing up, I wish they would have been more supportive of me. They were always negative and never wished me well. When I had baby out of wedlock, they said I threw my life away and didn't help me through my pregnancy. Boy, that's some old school parents. Boy, they let you feel. I send you that baby. After years of conflict, I started to understand that by accepting them as they are has not only helped me find peace, but also helped me not to rely on others' support. Sometimes you have to just admit what people are showing you. Facts. What they showing you, don't care. They showing you that they painting the road blue, and now you want to see they painting the road black. No, they ain't painting the road black. They paint the road blue, so accept the flipping blue and just move accordingly. Yeah, you might not like the blue, but okay then. But don't come back on the blue street. Stay on the black street. You know? Let me skim through this. To be honest, what I think is hard for a lot of people, including me, is that sometimes we hold on to the idea of who we want people to be rather than who they show us they are. Out of man, that's powerful. That's 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 a powerful one right there. That right there. To be honest, what I think is hard for a lot of people, including me, is that sometimes we hold on to the idea of who we want people to be rather than who they show us they are. When you accept too much, it only leads to frustration. Keep preaching. We see, right? We see what we want them to be, but we try to ignore who they showing us they are. You could see someone to be a princess and a queen of England, but they might just be, a mermaid with one arm. You know what I mean? They might just be. You want them to be a blue marlin, but they might just be a long nosed fish. You know, that one was good. Lord, there we go. This one say, boy, my wife has a crazy personality, bro. If that's your wife, you crazy too, because y'all is one. You calling your wife crazy, you crazy too. Both of y'all crazy. That's probably why y'all married. Say, boy, my wife has a crazy personality. She said in her ways bad. In the beginning, I would try to change her thinking she would budge, but buddy, nothing was happening. Man, all I could say is problem after problem, and she was like, I should love her for her. One day, I was like, there's too much energy, and it was draining. I just started. Hold on. Oh Lord, the message is coming on the screen, and I couldn't see just now. Oh jeez. Hold on, now I gotta find the message spot. Hold on. Too much numbers, man. What this was? All right, Rachel. But my wife has a crazy personality. She's set in her ways. In the beginning, I would try to change her thinking. She would not budge, buddy. She would not budge, buddy. Nothing was happening. Man, all I could say is problem after problem. And she was like, I should love her for her. One day I was like, there's too much energy and it was draining. I just started to ignore it and accept her crazy. Right. It wasn't easy, but it helped me to shift my focus because, babe, I was ready to go. We so cool right now, but it took a lot of effort to get there. And she always asks me if I changed because I have a next woman. If only she knew I had to program my brain to accept her crazy AW, you know what? I don't know, man. Hold on, man. Rose say, he wife has a crazy personality and set no ways. He said in the beginning he would try to change her. So in other words, you accept her craziness, which you are crazy too. That's why y'all still married. You accept her craziness. And y'all have the best relationship since. Hold on, man. Okay, this one said, whoever wrote that part of the idea of accepting someone and not seeing them for who they are wrote a whole sermon. Amen. Let the church say amen. Preach it. Preach it. Amen. The church is in session tonight. And you all giving some really great points. It's both sides. A lot of times people is be given the negative, but there's some positive too. Homie riding with his crazy wife, boy. Huh? I ain't blaming you, buddy. Hold on, you woman. That's your crazy woman, buddy. Hold her down. You know? You gotta hold your woman. Hold your woman. All right. So this one said, I had this guy I dated who used to criticize everything I do. Boy, them criticizing, things right there. That. I had this guy I dated who used to criticize everything I do. I don't know how I fell in love with him. One day it became draining. I found myself feeling resentful when he criticized me from everything, from the clothes to makeup, the hair, man, everything down to my phone. It made me pull away from him. Ultimately, I had to distance myself for my mental health and I left him. To this day, he says I left him and never said why. I realized that he wasn't going to change and I can't force myself to absorb the negative side of that energy. Yeah, twin? No. Let me read this again. Why? Listen, you're all preaching tonight. This one say, I had this guy I dated who used to criticize everything I do, criticizing everything. I don't know how I fell in love with him. One day it became draining. Too much energy, man, negative energy. I found myself feeling resentful. Resentment has come after bitterness. After you're tired and you just had enough, resentment is coming. When he criticized me for everything from clothes, mother flip, he attacking the clothes to makeup, to hair, man, everything down to the phone. Man, he didn't want you to have an iPhone. It made me pull away from him. Ultimately, I had to distance myself from my mental health and I left him. To this day, he says I left him and never said why. I realized that he wasn't going to change and I can't force myself to absorb the negative side of that energy. Embracing the unchangeable, recognizing people for who they are. She already realized, like, your homie only gonna continue to criticize me. Homie only gonna continue to pull me down. Homie only gonna start talking with my hair, my makeup, my phone, shoes. I believe he was talking with your contours and all. You know? Sometimes you have to accept it, man. It ain't no beef, you know. It ain't no beef. It ain't no why. You know, all right, you don't like my hair, all right. Everything cool. You don't like my makeup, all right. Everything cool. You don't like my phone, all right. Everything cool. Well, I think you should find somebody where you like their hair. I think you should find somebody where you like their makeup. I think you should find somebody where you like their phone. If you have so much critiques, right? Find somebody that fits the portfolio that you're looking for, man. Okay, let's go. Miss Johnson is my good boss, my good boss. My struggle has been it's hard because often we expect ourselves from others. Let Miss Johnson, you're coming to preach right now. My struggle has been it's hard because often we expect ourselves from others, especially our loved ones. Let a Honda, Mercedes, Mitsubishi, Benz, a Volvo because I sacrifice and put my loved ones in front of myself. What are I feeling this? I kept expecting that they would do the same, and it rarely, capital, rarely ever happened. Others have been consistent in showing me who they are. Now I am learning to love myself and take care of myself like I do others. Love covers a multitude of sins. They don't really love you, so love yourself. What a flip. Sign ovation for this. I gotta read this again, man. This one touched the core of my soul. My struggle it's hard because often we expect ourselves from others, especially our loved ones. Sometimes I sacrifice and put my loved ones in front of myself. I kept expecting they would do the same, and it rarely ever happened. Others have been inconsistent in showing me who they are. Now I am learning to love myself and take care of myself like I do others. Love covers a multitude of sin. They don't really love you, so love yourself. Let all this is saying is, man, if you love me, then why don't you give me what I need to feel love? How you could say you love me, right? And you hurt me. How you can say you love me and you mistreat me? How you can say you love me and you ain't spending time with me? How you can say you love me and you lying to me? How you say you love me and you deceiving me? How? How? Come on, man. Boy, listen, yeah. That was powerful. That was powerful right there. That was powerful. Oh Lord. This one say, Have you ever tried changing someone with an emotional nature? Geez, I got to drink the juice for this one. I listen. You coming for me because I have an emotional nature. I one of them people. I shut down quick. That's emotional. From my mind, shut down. So before I start reading anymore, you better don't come for me tonight. Don't come for me. Have you ever tried changing someone with an emotional nature? Even in an argument, you try to be like, baby, let's not do this, and that triggers a heated argument further. Oh Lord, it ain't true. Even in an argument, you try to be like, baby, let's not do this, and that triggers a heated argument further. Even when you try to be the bigger person, it's like, oh, you trying to avoid this conversation? Well, that's toxic. Over time, I realized that their sensitivity was too much, and I stopped trying to change them. I left him one day and I said, I'm done trying to change you, and I accept you for who you are, but you're not for me. He was so shocked. That's the first time I see him cry. He wanted to work things out, but I was like, no. People will change for a second and go right back, especially if that's their nature. Out of left. Mm, that nature thing right there, Dre, that make me even think right now. She said, have you ever tried changing someone with an emotional nature? Even in an argument, you try to be like, baby, let's not do this, and that triggers a heated argument even further. Boy, that's a little weird right there. You know, when you telling somebody, let's not do this, and you calm and collective, and they tripping out even more. It's like they want to rally. You know, even when you try to be a bigger person, it's like, oh, you're trying to avoid this conversation. Over time, I realized that their sensitivity was too much and I stopped trying to change them. I left him one day and I said, I'm done trying to change you and I accept you for who you are, but you're not for me. That's what I'm saying. Embrace the unchangeable, recognizing people for who they are, then you make the best decision for you. He was so shocked. That's the first time I see him cry. He wanted to work things out, but I was like, no, people would change for a second and go right back, especially if that's their nature. You got to recognize people's unchangeable natures and characteristics. If they repeatedly show you this their nature over and over and over and over and over and over, and you continue to accept it over and over and over and over and over and over, and you say, oh, you're trying to help them change over and over and over and over and over. No, sometimes that's exhausted, man. All right. Next. What's up? Oh, sorry. This one said, congratulations, Queen. That man never liked you. You know, I don't want to put devil's advocate, devil's advocate. Sometimes I'm not sure that it's the fact that they don't like them, that they don't like them. Hold on. Naya. It's not the time. It's not the fact that they don't like them, Because sometimes I believe that these people really do like these people. I feel like sometimes that maybe they do love these individuals. I just want to look at it from another perspective. And I like to play devil's advocate. Sometimes I feel maybe they do love and they do like these people. But I just feel like they are so set in their unchangeable ways, right? That they just stuck in that way and they expect people to accept that. Yeah, I like you. Yeah, I love you, but uh-uh. Find the person who will accept that. All right, this one say, say this topic for me tonight. I dated this guy who would lie for everything. Well, I can't stand lies, boy, but anyway, this this topic for me tonight. I dated this guy who would lie for everything. So I would be real with him and say, baby, I know you lying and it's hard for you to tell the truth. Or are you trying to be really understanding? So this topic for me tonight. I dated this guy who would lie for everything. So I would be real with him and say, baby, I know you lying and it's hard for you to tell the truth. But try admitting you're wrong sometimes. I would call him out on his lies, and he would say he won't do it again, to lying again and again and again. You ever met someone who lie even when you tell them, hey, I can respect whatever, just be honest? You asking or you telling? That was draining. One day he came home to the house empty, and he lied and said he will do anything to make it work. LOL. He ain't see me sense. Bushcraft woman gone. Let me read this again, man. Say this topic for me tonight. I dated this guy who would lie to everything. So I would be real with him and say, baby, I know you lying. She knows, mother flip, lying. And it's hard for you to tell the truth. She trying to help him to stop lying. I know you lying. It's hard for you to tell him. You can imagine you lying and somebody comes to you, baby, I know you lying. I know it's hard for you to tell the truth. You're trying to be supportive of you and your lies just so you don't lie and you still lie. Say, I know you lying and it's hard for you to tell the truth, but try admitting you're wrong sometimes. I would call him out on his lies, and he would say he won't do it again, to lying again and again and again. You ever met someone who lie even when you tell them, hey, I can respect whatever, just be honest? Listen, she's telling you. Listen, I can respect whatever you tell me, just be honest. Lot of flip. I don't know. That was draining. One day he came home to the house empty. And he lied and said he will do anything to make it work. He ain't seen me since. Bushcraft? Oh my God. But yeah, that's one of the worst things right there. When you're telling somebody, look here, just keep it real to me. Don't gotta lie, just keep it. And the mere fact you telling them keep it real with you, it ain't enough. They still, they still, you know, do lying. You can say, man, again, man, just let me know what's going on, man. Let's just smile again. Ain't no beef, man. Just let me know what's going on, man. Don't lie to me, man. I know you lying, man. But I understand you got a lying problem. I understand you struggling with your lies. I understand. I understand it's hard for you to tell the truth, but man, just at least just try, just keep it a buck with me. At least that's fine. Can't get no better than that, man. Shelly says, I'm still working on me things. What I gotta change for me. So I know for damn sure I don't even have time trying to convince you to change or see why the need to. It's it's all a choice. Yes. But it goes back to what I say, sometimes people just need a little pushing. They need a little pushing in the right direction. This one says, hold on now. Listen, I just want to make this disclaimer. The views and opinion are the views and opinion of the viewers and the followers of this Gray Area podcast. I see whatever I say on this mic is my personal views, and I can stand by that. I don't want nobody coming in my inbox talking a whole bunch of foolishness, and then I have to turn into the old Jason and have to batch all out. You know what I mean? But this one, it's a funny one right here. It's funny. This one say, trying to change a liar is like trying to convince a trans female that he is not a female. You want to go there? What is it? Like trying to change a liar is like trying to convince a trans female that he is not a female. Right. Next text. I'll embrace it all right. So my see you ain't making any sense. I'll accept it and buy. Ain't no long talk. That's all I said. Ain't no long talk. Oh Lord, all right. I get into the last couple of messages now. Okay, this one says, too many times in too many times in life and in these relationships, we try to change people, especially when they don't mean us good. Potential is a waste of time. Oh shoot, you took it there. You took it there. All right, let me read these last set of messages. You really took it there though. Oh, potential, man. I see the potential in her. or they see the potential in the man. What's wrong with potential? Hold on, man. Why you have to hit the potential like that? Hold on, man. Let me read this. Too many people, too many times, sorry, in life and in these relationships, we try to change people, especially when they don't mean us good. Potential is a waste of time most times. You could meet someone who was bad and try to show them that, man, look, I ain't watching your past, and try to make them a husband or wife, and they would go right back to that nature because that's just who they are. What a flip. Mm. So if you meet someone who you consider bad, right? Well, you say both sides. You said you could meet someone who was bad and try to show them, man, look, I ain't watching your past, and try to make them a husband or wife. And they would go right back to the nature because that's just who they are. But what is the potential though? You said first, before that, you said potential is a waste of time most time. And then you jump and say you could meet someone who was bad. So if you met them and they was bad, what was the potential that you were seeing? I don't understand. Again, I don't judge people by their past or whatever. You know me. Anybody who know me know my brain, how my brain process. Whatever you do in your past didn't have anything to do with me. I don't care if you had Tom, Dick, Harry, John, Jean, Jack, Mel, John Bell, or Ruba, or whatever these funny names is around town. That don't have nothing to do with me now. If it affects my now, and you doing what you was doing then and our now, then it's a problem because it ain't in the past no more. I dealing with that in the present. All right now. Oh Lord, Lord, this one. I had to proofread this one. I ain't too sure I want to read this. This little this. Hold up. This is a great podcast, man. We just talking about everything. Bro, I don't know this, what he said. I just want to make that very clear. You even got the dudes messaging of what's happening. I shout out the dudes, man, who's supporting the podcast. I respect you all, brethren. I respect you sharing and changing, but don't worry, this like mango season. I ain't showing your number and I'm not showing your name. But this one gonna blow you. This gonna blow your mind. Cause it blew my mind to reading it. And I haven't even gotten through. I need some juice for this. I need some sugar. All right. This was a real talk because I remember I had this girl and man, I tripped over her, right? I fall in love with her after me and some dudes trained the wide. Right, daddy, I end up catching feelings, dog. And this girl swear she only into me. Daddy, one day her phone was ringing off and I only slided to decline the call and I saw all kind of messages. I opened couple and I ain't say nothing. More bottles break in my chest. Man, oh Lord, man, I gotta read this in my ghetto tone now. We gotta do this in the ghetto. We gotta read this so we can get it like how he's saying it. Let's not be politically correct or proper English or etiquette around here tonight. We're gonna read this just how he wrote it. The boy said, real talk. Because I remember I had this girl and man, I tripped over her. I fell in love with her after me and some dudes trained wide. Boy, daddy, I end up catching feelings, dog. And this girl swear she only into me. Flip. That's what it is too, but they swear they only into you, buddy. Huh? Feelings, dog, and this girl swear she only into me. Daddy, one day her phone was ringing off and I only slided to decline the call and I saw all kind of messages. Buddy, don't go on them phones. Don't go on them phones, buddy. If you want to keep saying, don't go on them phones. Daddy, one day her phone was ringing off. I only slided to decline the call and I saw all kind of messages. I opened couple and I ain't say nothing. More borders breaking my chest. I asked her, you still love me and only me around, right? The gal tell me it will always be me. Mother flip. How she love me and only want me. Boy, when she go on to work, I carry the TV I buy, fridge, stove. And when she come home one day, last sight, she called the man saying I rob her and I showed her my receipts. You ain't gonna count me. So I learned my lesson. Boy, how you meet them is how you leave them. What a flip, bro. I ain't got no comments. I ain't even, this one thing, the gate. I don't have no comments, buddy. Honestly. If you missed what he said, I can read it one last time. One last time. I gotta rewind this right now. Bro, what? You all be doing some dangerous things out there, boy. I don't judge. I ain't judging her and I ain't judging you, but the whole dynamics of the situation is very, very conflicting and confusing. It has me all over the place. I mean, the circumstances behind how you all met, it wasn't a one-on-one thing. It was like a many on one thing. So it raises so much questions as how you ended up, like falling, you know what I mean? I mean, look, I don't. I've never heard a story like this in my life. I mean, it happens, right? But it happens. But gee, this one is baffling, man. You got some great points in there too. Now, all right, let's go. We got to put it in the ghetto tour. Real talk. Because I remember I had this girl, and man, I trip over her. I fall in love with her after me and some dude trained the wide. But daddy, I ended up catching feelings, dog. And this girl swears she only into me. That's the line right there, buddy. Someday bust that line on you, buddy. You supposed to have them clock in your brain supposed to start. What's happening here? You know? Daddy, or one day her phone was ringing off and I only slided to decline the call. And I saw all kind of messages. I opened couple and I ain't say nothing. More borders breaking my chest. Yeah, hi. Oh Lord, my chest. That reminds me when that dude flipping when big boy ride on that bicycle. And dude say my chest, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That's you, bro. Say more borders in my chest. I asked her, so you still in love with me and only me, right? The gal tell me it will always be only me. Buddy, too much only you there as you supposed to. Come on, man. Well, when she gone to work, I carry the TV I buy, fridge, stove. When she come home one day, last night, she called the man saying I robbed her, and I showed him my receipts. You ain't gonna count me. So I learned my lesson. But how you meet them is how you leave them. Embracing the unchangeable, recognizing people for who they are. I could give you props because you didn't hang up. When you see that, and I like how you dealt with it too. You didn't say anything, you know. You pretend to be normal and you went about your merry day. But man, you carry the TV, the fridge, and the stove, where she's supposed to cook on, man, where she's supposed to store. I hope you don't carry the groceries and the flipping in the fridge too, man. The message me and let me know if you carry the groceries too, man. I really want to know. All right. This one says, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't get him to drink. Straight fact. Straight. Kim says, like Lil Wayne say, worry about yourself. All right. So this one, what up, I finally reached the last message. I didn't even know how much message that was. Jeez. This one says, even as a Christian, we try to change people. You can only tell someone something you know, but it's up to them to want to change. She said, even as a Christian, we try to change people. You can tell someone something, but it's up to them to want to change. I agree. I agree. It's up to the people who want to change. So we have to understand that, yeah, we love certain individuals, we care for in certain individuals, but sometimes it takes more energy trying to force someone to change, right? It takes too much energy. When I mean too much energy, especially if you invest in a person and you are such a genuine person, because we have all kind of genuine people, and they would invest in individuals, and it becomes exhausting, man. Like you showing these people, oh, I ride or die and this and that, and it's like, oh well, it's like you're wasting your time, So you have to embrace it, learn to embrace it. You know what I mean? Embrace the change, embrace it, accept it, and you know, just act accordingly. So, y'all, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, yeah, before I go, don't forget, I have some more Fire Sticks to give away. Go on the Gray Area Podcast page and join the competition, man. Free stuff. Just go on the page. Uh, get yourself entered in the competition, and I'm giving away more stuff. Just to show you all, I support you all for supporting me. So that's how it is. So thank you all for tuning into the Gray Area Podcast. Wow, listen, y'all, this was this is good. Anyway, I'm out. Y'all.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Gray Area Podcast. Thanks for exploring the unexpected with us. Remember, it's in the gray areas where the most profound insights can be found. Keep questioning, stay curious, and join us again next time. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Alex Snow off Galero Sheep.